Welcome to the Top Agent Podcast. We speak to top industry leaders in real estate and extract their insights to help you grow your business. This podcast is powered by Web for Realty, the leading provider in real estate marketing tools. As our way of saying thank you to our listeners, we're offering an exclusive 2-month free promo to the best IDX websites, CRM, and email marketing tools in the industry. Just go to topagentpromo.com to claim this exclusive discount, no strings attached. If you're looking to attract leads, build relationships, and close more deals, go to topagentpromo.com and get started. All right, I am very excited to introduce my next guest on the Top Agent Podcast. I'm speaking with Dagmar Sands. Dagmar is the CEO of Real Estate International, Inc., a brokerage out of Atlanta. She's been in real estate since 1985 and specializes as an international real estate agent in both commercial and residential real estate. She's helped thousands of international clients relocate in and out of metro Atlanta area. So Dagmar, thank you so much for joining me on the Top Agent Podcast. Welcome.
You're welcome. It's good to be here. Thanks.
Amazing. So you have a very interesting background, very unique background. You moved from Europe to the US as a teenager without speaking any English.
Right.
Tell us a bit about yourself, your background, and how you landed into real estate.
I was born and raised in Czechoslovakia, came to this country as a teenager at age 14. And couldn't speak any English, so I had to take classes. And unfortunately, I picked up the Southern draw, so I lost my European accent, but which is good. I have since I was in college, my father insisted that I take a real estate course and get a real estate license, which I never thought I wanted to work on commissions only, but he kept saying, you know, it's a good thing to have, because when I was about 14 years old and went to a closing when we bought our first home in the United States, I was the youngest interpreter and got a little taste of what happens at a closing table. So when I think I was 21, we got my real estate license when I was in college. And I started working with clients from Czech Republic, Germany, Europe, and everywhere else. And I started working with foreigners. I called my company Real Estate International because we worked with foreigners from 60 different countries. And I joined an organization called FIAPSI, which is the International Real Estate Federation, back in 1987, and got a taste of traveling, using my languages, plus picking up clients from all over the world. So FIAPSI was the one thing that really helped me get more and more international. I saw my clients' cultures, I saw where they live, how they work, and the referrals started coming. So as a result of FIAPSI, I really built up a great network of international buyers and sellers.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. So FIAPSI, how do you go about getting that? Like, is it a designation, a certificate?
Well, FIAPSI back then, when I went to their first meeting, had a designation that was CIPS, stands for Certified International Property Specialist. And I remember when the speaker on the stage was saying how to get this designation, raised my hand and says, I don't know what it is, but it's got the word international and I want to be one of those. So out of 1.3 million realtors, I became number 46 realtor to get that designation. And what you had to do back then, you had to have at least 5 international transactions. You had to do a case study on each one and submit it. And then there was a panel of judges that decided whether you get it. Today, National Association of Realtors has adopted this designation called CIPS. It's maybe a little bit easier to get it today. We have quite a few realtors that now own that designation. And what it did is I would take courses like in Mexico and different countries just to learn more about how to work with people from South America, how to work with people that speak Spanish, what are some of the cultural differences in Japan and Asia, and how do you approach buyers and sellers? Most agents don't realize that there is a certain number one etiquette. Number two, you have to know, even my Korean clients today that I'm working with, they will bring a compass with them to see in the master bedroom? Where does the bed sit? And then, so you have to learn these little etiquettes. You have to learn the culture. You cannot push the Asian clients into buying a house right away. They don't like deadlines. People that are from South America or Portugal, they don't have sense of timing, in my opinion. You know, everything goes and they take their little siesta and whatever. So it's been interesting, and I love working with foreign clients because I've been one of them. I emigrated to this country and I understand how they feel when they come here. So, but the next thing that happened to me is I thought I was going to be an agent working with foreign clients. That meant when they came to this country, selling them a house. Well, immediately when they bought the house and we were at closing, they started talking, hey, I'd like to open a beauty salon. I would like to own a Firestone. I would like to have a restaurant or a sandwich shop or a deli or whatever. So what that did is open the doors for me to become a retail agent, office agent, a warehouse agent, industrial. And I started doing not only residential, but we started doing commercial. I sold 12 churches as a result, because most of these groups, like the Romanians and Koreans, said, Miss Sands, we need to buy a church. And I thought, wow, in America, y'all sell churches? I didn't know that. So I created postcard, and those postcards were sent out to every church in Atlanta, and all the pastors and fathers and ministers started calling me saying, hey, we want to upgrade our church, or we're relocating. Would you sell our church? So 12 churches. Then Atlanta Business Chronicle and Atlanta Constitution wrote an article about me saying she's unique. She sells unique properties. And so a gentleman called me and said, hey, I want you to sell my racetrack. And I said, oh, we don't sell gas stations. And he said, no, it's car racing. So I listed a racetrack, which was drag strip. And as a result, I joined the IHRA and HRA and became a broker that was in that business. So, you know, owners of racetracks are now calling me saying, can you help me with my racetrack?
Wow, that is all like super interesting and very unique, and there's so much I want to dive into there. So is just for like FIAPSI, you said that that designation no longer exists. It's now
No, it
the
does exist.
CIPS.
It does
Okay,
exist, but it's just owned now by National Association of Realtors instead
got
of
it.
just strictly FIAPSI.
Okay, got it. Perfect. And how many agents, realtors today have that designation?
Probably close to 1,500.
Okay, so still relatively small in the grand scheme of
Yeah,
things.
people that want to learn more about the international. And there's a book, National Association of Realtors has a directory, a who's who in international real estate. And
Okay.
the FIAPSI still has their directory from all 71 countries. So when I was a member in FIAPSI, what I used extensively was their broadcast email. So that if I had a listing, I went in there and you could go put that listing in maybe all the Japanese buyers or all the German buyers or whatever. And you could promote your home, your commercial listing or whatever to those investors or buyers that were relocating to the Atlanta area.
Got it. Perfect. So you said you had to travel to do a lot of the training. Where's your favorite place that you've been to for training?
You know, there's so many, but I loved Greece. I loved Portugal. I've been to 41 countries with FIAPSI. So it's been phenomenal. And the education, because you had marketing sessions at each country when we went to, we had trade missions, like to Panama, to Switzerland. We had every year there was a World Congress in a different country. So, you know, it started out when in 1989, I went to Vienna, Austria, and I felt like Cinderella just arrived at a ball because these brokers from all over the country, I mean, the women wore like $6,000 gowns, and it was just a red carpet rolled out for everybody. Wow. And I thought, wow, instead of spending all my advertising dollars in the Atlanta Constitution or local marketing places. I'm going to do something unique. I'm going to spend all my money with FIAPSI on these trade missions, on the world congresses.
That's
So
incredible.
that was incredible for me.
That's amazing. So just for context, for the listeners, can you share how many transactions or like sales volume you do in a given year?
Well, for me, it's a little different. When I started out as a residential agent, my goal was always 63 transactions a year. That's what I strived to do every year as a residential agent. Now,
So can I ask you, 63, that's such a very like unique number. Like why not 60? Why 63?
okay, because Mike Ferry was my trainer back then, and we worked the numbers backwards. I took his seminar, and I used to be his follower, and I would take Mike Ferry courses and bought all his tapes. And just because that was how much money I wanted to make a year, and in order to establish the revenue that I wanted to get back then, it was 63 transactions. Of course, the prices were much lower. Today, Atlanta's market's gone up to in the 300s. Back then, we were selling houses that were maybe 150 to 225,000.
Yeah, got it. Okay, so sorry to interrupt there. So for like today, what's the benchmark?
It varies right now. I'll just give you, for instance, I have I took on a assemblage of land that we're working with a developer to develop. So that particular transaction is going to be like $12 million. And so it is 8 owners of that property. And then I've got on the board right now, probably, I don't know, about close to 20 closings that are either residential homes, and they average anywhere. There's 535, 403, 309, 440. So it varies. I'm different from a regular residential agent in the fact that I look at what is selling, and I've always told, what do you do? And I say, whatever my clients want me to do.
I like
so
it.
For instance, 13,000 square foot deal with 3 Mexican brothers, and sold them or leased them a 13,000 square foot store, grocery store, that's going to be strictly for Spanish clients. And so I worked on that deal for almost a year to get them exactly what they needed. And so that was a pretty nice transaction because the lease is for 10 years. I'm now working with dentists. I've sold a dentist his own office building, and now I just sold his personal home and trying to sell him another home in the $650,000 price range. So it varies. I'm not a traditional agent that can tell you that this year I'm going to sell 20 or 60. I'm looking at what's the most value I can give to my clients, and then, work it that way.
I love it. That's amazing. Thanks so much for sharing that. So I'm very curious back to like the international side of things. So, dealing internationally with buyers and sellers, like you must encounter some very unique situations and deals, as you mentioned, like, cultural differences and things like that. So are there any recent transactions or experience that has stood out to you that you want to share? Something, that happened or scenario that was different?
Well, there's so many. For instance, right now with the Korean client, like I mentioned, he and his wife, they go look at a property, they will always look at the feng shui, and they look at the way their bedroom is positioned, and check that out. The Chinese clients, they do not want to have a house where a street comes into a home because they believe that the money would flow out of their house. Most of my European clients, they're about numbers and returns. It's got to make sense. It's got to be upside potential. I have one client that I've already sold 15 houses to, and he wants to buy 20. And so he's looking at returns and locations. The Mexican clients, they were very specific. This is what we need. I sold them a piece of land to build a strip center on. And then they decided, hey, we have 5 grocery stores. We want to lease one in a different location. So I worked with them on that. And because it was 3 brothers, and I don't speak Spanish, but they their own manager who spoke very well English. So we didn't have a problem there. If I need to get somebody to translate something for me, I've used translation service in the past. I do have a Romanian agent and a Korean agent. We used to have 14 bilingual agents. So our motto was sold in any language. So we take longer for the attorneys at the closing table because we're there to translate into the client's language. I am from the Czech Republic, so a lot of my clients is repeated business. I just sold a property for the consul of the Czech Republic. I've had a client whose mother helped my family when we first moved into the United States. And then 20 years forward, he acquired some property in the Czech Republic and wanted some help translating a contract. Well, when I looked at the contract, I didn't think he was getting enough money. And so I asked him to give me a power of attorney. I researched the land in the Czech Republic. I checked with the title insurance company, the attorney and everything. And I flew with him to the Czech Republic and sold, I think it was like 17 hectares of land that he acquired back through the restitution. So, he paid for my airline ticket. We spent about 10 days in the Czech Republic, and I closed all the land transactions. And he still has some land. I probably will work with him in the future on that as well.
Wow.
So, every client's different. It's been very interesting for me, and I learn every day something from my clients.
That's incredible. Just such like a broad range of spectrum and cultures and different types. So that must make the job pretty fun as well,
Yeah, and
and unique.
you become not only a broker them, but friends. And
Yeah.
I have a client right now I've sold 11 houses to. She's moved 11 times, and she's from the Czech Republic. And, she calls me now maybe 2 or 3 times a week just to talk because we've become such good, close friends.
So that's actually the perfect segue into like what I wanted to ask next. So, being in the business for so long, I guess 36 years, if my math is right, working in many different countries, like your contacts and relationships must be like extremely large, to say the least. And we know real estate is all about relationships and, nurturing relationships. So for someone like yourself with decades into the business, thousands of contacts and relationships, I'm assuming, like, what do you do to like continue to nurture and engage, the contacts and people you've met and done business with over the years?
Good question. Right now, active clients that I stay in contact with, I have probably 10,900. And those people, number one, they get our newsletter. Number two, they get a Christmas card and a calendar each year. They get reminders of things that are happening in real estate. We ask for their feedback on things. I'm real big as far as, I take pictures at closing. So we send them all up and say, do you remember when you closed on your house 5 years ago? Here's a photo from that date. And I try to be unique. We give unique gifts as a closing gift at the closing table. We try to do something that when they get something in the mail from us, it's always in a yellow envelope. Our business cards are bright yellow. All of our marketing is bright yellow because it was voted as #1 international color. So we're consistent with that. We have our logo. I don't know if you can see it, but international logo, it's got yellow on it. And so our signs are yellow. And so we just, it's like market to themselves. I have something unique that I'll share with you that I've started that's been really great. It's $1 million bill. And on the back of the $1 million bill is my business card. It's got my picture. I don't know if you can see this or not, but it's got my picture and all the information. So we send out a marketing brochure saying, thanks $1 million in advance. I'll do a good job for you, Dagmar Sands. And people will hold on to that. And I've been to St. Petersburg, Russia. And 5 years later, I came there again. And the president of the FIOPSI organization there called me to the side and says, come here. And he opened his wallet and said, I still have it. So he kept my $1 million bill. So, you know, trying to be unique, doing different things. I started what I call become the mayor of your own real estate village here in Atlanta. I live in Johns Creek. So I created a website where I interviewed business owners of the businesses, and we try to help the community network. I started a meetup. I don't know if you know about Meetup, but I started a meetup group. It was called Johns Creek Investors Meetup. I had no idea how many people were going to show up. My first meeting, we had 17 investors, and that group grew to 995 investors.
Wow.
I opened a restaurant for them once a month at Outback Steakhouse, and they all would come together. We didn't have maybe anywhere from 50 to 75 people each month at this meeting, but they would rotate. So, you know, they may have been at my meeting 5 to 8 times a year. But my second meetup, I think I had a $6 million listing from that. One of the guys that was a financial planner that came, let me list his house. So I try to be unique in my marketing and try to do things that other realtors are not doing. You know, we have, for instance, I'll give you on the luxury side. I used to list properties that were anywhere from $500,000 to $1.5 million. And that was back in the 80s. Well, I didn't have buyers for that price range. So I started a group called Powerhouse. And Powerhouse, we invited agents that sold in that price range. I led that group for 6 years and sold many properties when the market was down. Things weren't selling, but because of the network I created, we were moving properties because we had something called the Power Plan and that I created, and things were moving. Agents would come and see it, and then they knew, hey, call Dagmar, she's got a listing. And if they called me and my listing didn't fit, I referred them to somebody else that was in our Powerhouse group.
I love it. You know, this is like, you're like a true, you know, mover and a shaker, like a true hustler in the sense of the word. And I love the grit that I'm hearing. And thanks for sharing that. So a couple of things, you mentioned the CRM you have 10,900 contacts currently. You know, you get the newsletters, the calendars, the cards. Is there anything you do like specifically to, other than like the mass mailings that everyone gets, like anything specific for like individual relationships that you do, like, you know, text messages or like the odd phone call here and there? Do you do any of that, or is just the contact list too big to manage that?
You know, because we categorized everyone in our database in their category. So you might have some people that are strict investors, some of them who are past clients in residential, some of them that are past clients in commercial. So we do, I signed up for something, it's called the Generosity Generation. And Michael Mayer is the guy that holds that. And I've picked up some tips from him. So I started doing things like special events to hold for a certain group of people. And I've got them in my database, categorized it as A+, A, B, C, D. And so I might send something to the A+ group because I know those are people that have sent me referrals in the past that will send me referrals. So I focus on that. If it's somebody that's in my C group who has never sent me a referral, yet they're connected with something that I might need, then they'll get updated things from me. We do social media, you know, everybody does these days, but texting, I'm not really, I use it every day. And sometimes I think I just get too much stuff on text. So I try not to burden other people with too many texts going out. You know, I get 440 emails every day, and it's just phenomenal. In the afternoon, try to sit down and sift through those. I belong to AGREE, which is Association of Global Real Estate Exchangers, and I've done great from that. And that's when people are coming out of a 1031 exchange. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but when they come out, say somebody's coming out of 1031 and they don't want to pay taxes. So they come out to this meeting and say, hey, I have $2 million and I need to invest it in something within next 45 to 60 days. I have to identify. So I'm always listening, who's got what and what they're willing to do. And I sold 90 golf course lots one time. I've sold a apartment developer some apartment land for $2 million. So it all depends. I'm big into networking. I try to attend meetings that I know I'm going to get some business out of, and FIOPSI and Agree and the Atlanta Commercial Board, that helps me a lot. So, you know, you
Yeah.
do what works.
Yeah, I love it. That's all amazing stuff. So besides nurturing like the existing relationships, like you mentioned, what's your go-to strategy for building like the new relationships and a new network? I know you mentioned you do a lot of attend a lot of meetings and part of organizations and meetups. Is that the primary strategy for new relationships?
It is. My new relationships where I'm trying to now focus a little bit more on for this year and next year is more land. You know,
Mhm.
Atlanta's growing tremendously. And I have, through this assemblage of the 25 acres I just did, I've had so many people call me and say, hey, you know, do you have anything else I could build apartments on? And these are people that are coming from California. They're coming from Chicago. I've had groups from all over. And land is a 10% commission. So I thought, well, you know what? We're going to focus on more listings and land. The residential market in Atlanta right now, I don't know if other agents are seeing this all over the country, but it is absolutely crazy. And what I mean by that is a listing will go on the market and 4 hours later be 35 showings and maybe 50 offers, and people are outbidding each other. And you know, I just had one of my Korean agents just made an offer 41,000 higher than asking price, and we still didn't get it. I
Wow.
talked to an agent who said, hey, I listed something and 75 offers, and somebody bid 75,000 over and they still didn't get it. So I was asking the attorneys and the loan officers, what is happening? And what it is you've got people from New York leaving California. They may had a 900 square foot home they just sold for 1.5 million. And when they go to Atlanta and for $500,000, they can get 4,000 square feet with a swimming pool and a fenced backyard and finished basement. They're like loving it, and they bid
Yeah.
75,000 higher. So, you know, after 42 years in real estate, I've never seen anything like this.
Really, I've been hearing a similar sentiment from agents like all over the place. This seems to be a trend everywhere. So you've never seen a market this hot as like right now?
Never,
Wow.
never. I mean, we've had, you know, the most I had was maybe 8 offers on a property, but not, you know, one agent in Duluth, Georgia told me she had 100 offers. And in my opinion, after you get like 10, you should stop it. You should say, look, you know, here to the seller, here are the best offers, pick one. But to accept
Wow.
100 offers, and what happens is when they get that many, number one, they don't respond to the agents that are sending them the offer. They don't say, thank you for your contract, you know, that you
Yeah.
just sent me. And if it's awarded, they don't follow up and say, hey, your offer did not get accepted. And I just think that the etiquette in the real estate business is not what it used to be. You should be courteous. You should, you know, follow up with agents, return phone calls. That's one pet peeve that I have right now, is that the follow up is so bad. And I'm sure that when the market changes and goes back down, these agents will be either out of business or they're not going to survive because um, most people won't work with them.
Yeah. Wow. That's yeah, that's crazy, the way the market. I'm in Toronto, and same over here. It's a very hot market from what I hear with agents here. Um I'm curious, how much of your business is residential compared to, the other like land and business and things?
It used to be residential used to be like 80, commercial 20, and now it's probably 70-30.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go more and more into the commercial. Uh, I've joined back in the 90s Crew, Commercial Real Estate Women, a wonderful, incredible organization. If there's a woman listening to this, if you're trying to get into commercial, try to join Crew. It's it's like a sisterhood in real estate. These girls network with each other. I get emails saying, hey, our company has job openings, and I'm trying to, when I see someone that has an opening, I try to find someone for them, maybe a CPA or financial planner. It could be anything. It's not just brokers. These are women in commercial real estate. And we try to network. The yearly seminars that we have and conventions. I mean, we've had in thousands of people come together, great speakers. We had Ivanka Trump, we had Hillary Clinton come in, we had David that was on CNN. I can't remember his last name right this moment, but great speakers. Robin from Good Morning America. They all come in. Even Barbara Corcoran was one of the speakers. So they come in and share their experiences. You learn a lot. It's educational, and you network and you get business from it. So
So you said this is an event you put together?
No. Commercial real estate women do that.
Oh, okay.
But I try to attend every year. When I joined FIAPSI, I never missed a Congress. And I went to all these 41 countries because every year that was my goal. And I would mark out that slot in my calendar, when Congress was on, I was gone. And I try to do that with Crew right now.
Amazing. That sounds like an incredible organization. So, you have probably one of the longest list of like certifications, credentials, and awards like I've ever seen, and to get to the level you're at, I think it's not by luck. Like there's skill, there's design, and there's talent. So I'm very curious to hear from you. What are like the two or three things that you do each and every day to help you achieve your goals or help you get closer to your goals?
Well, first thing, I wake up every morning with gratitude. I'm thankful for what I've been able to accomplish, what I have, and for my family, for the clients that I have, for the business that I have. I try to make phone calls to past clients, every day, try to maybe pick 5 or 6 people out of the base and give them a call and say, how are you? Just to stay in contact. I try to send personal notes, handwritten notes. I try to prospect in a different way than we used to. We used to go and knock on doors. Of course, in today's world, you don't do that. But I just did it 2 days ago. I went and knocked 2 doors. And because I know these people want to sell their property. So,
Yeah.
Introducing myself and telling them, hey, we're in business. If I can help you, let me know. And you give them $1 million bill, they're going to hold on to it. And they might call you 3 years down the road and say, hey, I remember that $1 million bill you gave me, and I'm giving you a call. So, and staying in touch, doing a good job for clients. I always tell them, I want to be a realtor for life, not just one transaction. And people laugh about that at first, but then they call me back and say, you're my realtor for life, so you got to help me with this. And they will refer you. If they like you, they're going to do business with you. So
amazing. So it starts with gratitude.
Every day. Yep.
Yeah. I like
because
that.
I'm in a country that anything here is possible. And I came here as an immigrant, and most of my clients who are immigrant are very well because they work hard, but the reward is here in this country. It's always been incredible that, people laugh and say, oh, you make more money than I do. Yeah, but they're not at the office at 2 a.m. like I am, following up on leads, returning emails and things like that. So I do put in long hours, but I love every bit of it. It's not a
That's
job to
amazing.
me.
That's amazing. That's the epitome of success. When you're doing something, it doesn't feel like work, and you just
Right.
provide value to people. So that's amazing. You mentioned it earlier, but I want to ask. Speaking to a lot of top agents like yourself, I've heard some unique answers to this, and you mentioned you give unique gifts or special gifts to clients after closing. Can you share some of those?
Well, my website's called World Class realestatebroker.com. So the world has always meant so much to me. So we had these globes made up, and they're standing on a pedestal, and they had underneath them world of thanks, and we engrave their name on it, and we give them that world. They can put it on their desk at their office or set it up on their mantle or something. We've also done things like I used to have an artist that would take a tile and draw the picture on that tile and set it up on the mantle in their home when they buy their house, and put their name and the date when they purchased it. So things that are unique. I pick clients, everyone's a little different. So we try to customize some of the gifts that we give to them. I've had different crystal things that personalized for them. So something they'll remember you. And I used to, this was funny, when I was first new in real estate, I used to give a palm tree, and we would put a big ribbon on it. And, I would be a realtor that walked into the closing table, and the attorneys thought I was some decorator coming to decorate their office. And we make a big deal at the closing. And I'll give you one quick example. I came to a closing one time, and of course, I brought the big gift and champagne, and we were sitting there having fun. Well, the listing agent that time, who was a big agent here in Atlanta with a big firm, sent her assistant to pick up her check. She did not attend her closing. Well, on the other side of the table, the seller was sitting there with this assistant. They were pretty quiet. Well, we were over there, toasting and having fun and talking about things. And when we closed, about 3 weeks later, I had a phone call from the seller, and they said, listen, we were so impressed with you at closing. Would you sell our daughter a house? And I said, of course, I'd love to. Well, the daughter bought a house. She resold it. Their son bought a house. They resold it. They bought a commercial property, and they bought investment property. I did 7 transactions because that other agent did not show up at her closing. So, it's a time to celebrate, and it's whatever impression you leave on people. And I've been so blessed that these people, now every time I run into that agent, I sort of smile and under breath and say, ooh, she really did me a favor by not coming to that closing that day. So
Yeah.
you have to care for your clients. And
I love
if
that.
you care, it's going to come back.
I love that. That's incredible. We're cutting it short for time, but I do want to ask you, another question. If you had to give one piece of advice to either a brand new agent or an agent that's looking to really step up their game, and you already gave so many incredible pieces of advice already, but what's that one piece of advice? What would that be?
You have to love what you do. And you have to have the passion for what the client's telling you they're looking for. Be a good listener. Try to listen. If they're telling you, I want to buy a house for 400,000, don't take them to see houses at 500,000 price range if they can't afford it. Be patient with them, and never be attached to the final outcome. When I go on listing appointments, I'm honest with the seller and say, this is what I do for you. And here is the marketing plan, and I lay it out. And if they see the value in that, they'll hire you. But you got to be sincere, and then never promise more than what you can do. And that's a golden rule. If I'm telling them, hey, you're going to be in every social media, then they're going to be in every social media. If I tell them, I'm going to market you internationally, then we market them internationally. So be a good listener. You have to have passion for this business. I mean, real estate is so much fun. Today, you might be working with a doctor. Tomorrow, you're working with a truck driver. The next day, you're working with a huge developer or just a small one-time builder. Every person is unique. And I've always said, every dud knows a stud. And so never underestimate anybody you meet, because you don't know where that person is going to take you down the road. So,
I love it.
the
I love
golden
it.
rule, live by the golden rule.
Amazing words of wisdom there. Dagmar, I do end off each chat with what I call the top 3, if you don't mind, very quickly here.
Okay.
Just 3 easy questions. Number 1, your top either business or real estate book.
Small Miracles is one.
Yeah.
Secret. I love Secret.
Yeah.
That's a great one. And Michael Mayer came out with a book called 7 Levels of Communication, 7L.
Perfect.
And those three
Perfect.
are great.
Amazing. Number 2, your top vacation spot.
Oh, I love Panama City Beach
Nice.
because my kids grew up there. Every year we took them there. I love going there. Um, I loved Greece. Santorini Island was
Nice.
incredible. And of course, I love my country, Czechoslovakia, Czech Republic.
And lastly, if you can go back, what's the one thing you wish you knew when you were just starting out in real estate?
The one thing, I learned so much as I went. We find a good tapes, or well, right now with YouTube and everything is there. Google, if Google was there when in the 70s, 79, when I got my real estate license, I probably would have been so much better off because the answers are right there. And I
Yeah.
always had to research it. The internet's really changed the world and changed the way we do business. Um, I don't know if there's just one thing I wish. There's so many little things that you pick up as you go. And, just market yourself for being you and be unique. Um, I've always
Yeah.
said, I call myself a purple snowflake, and I wrote a book, How I Became a Purple Snowflake. And that's by doing things that the 1.3 million realtors are not interested in doing. And I'm going the opposite direction doing them. So become
I
a
love
purple
it.
snowflake.
I love it. Well, you've shared so much already in this episode, and thank you so much for that. Where's the best place someone can find you if they wanted to learn more or reach out?
The best place is to go to worldclassrealestatebroker.com. I hate to say this, but I have 98 different domains. And you can go to Dagmar Sells Atlanta, Dagmar Sells Churches, Dagmar Sells Commercial, Dagmar Sells Mountains. But worldclassrealestatebroker.com is the one website. I've got dagmarsands.com. So any of those websites, you can find me. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter. We're on all the social media platforms. And
Amazing. Perfect. I will add that all in the show notes. Dagmar, thank you so much. This was such an incredible conversation. I'm so
my pleasure.
thankful we were able to connect. I know everyone listening is going to get a ton of value and insights from this. So thank you so much. I really do appreciate the time.
You're welcome, and thank you for having me. You have a
Anytime.
best 2021 and stay safe and stay
Thank,
healthy.
thank you so much. You too.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you. Bye-bye.